50s tomorrow, up in the near 80 on Thursday. You'd never know it by the conditions here tonight.
Cornermen play in against Willie Taveras, who leads it off, and we're underway. That's a strike from Rich Harden. Dusty Baker has a big winter jacket on. He knows what the conditions are like here in this ballpark and that they can change quickly. Too high, 1-1. It's a rain delay we like. Short, 12 minutes. There's a deep fly ball out into left center, but again, the ball's not going to carry out toward that part of the park tonight as Kosuke puts it away for the first out.
The wind is just howling, as you said, led from the left field corner to the right field corner. Really knocked that ball down and pushed it further over towards center field. Now, this is one of those days, or nights rather, when in doubt, throw it up over the plate and inside to a right-handed hitter. Let him see how far he can hit it into the teeth of that wind. A little different story in right field. Going to have to be careful with those left-handed pull hitters.
Chris Dickerson is in a lefty-righty platoon with former Cub Jerry Hairston Jr. at left. So Dickerson gets the start against the right-hander Harden. Cornermen are still in. And that's a strike. 40 degrees, the wind out of the northwest at 15. Swing and a miss. Good changeup from Harden. 0-2.
And one thing to watch for from this Reds ball club, a notorious group of free swingers. They've been a lot more patient in the early going this season. Brooke Jacoby, their hitting instructor, has tried to preach to them the importance of taking some pitches, working some counts. And at least in the early going, it's rubbed off on some of these Reds hitters.
It's Joey Votto on deck. Swing and a miss. And Votto will head to the plate. 2 outs, nobody on.
Good start for Rich Harden. Has established his fastball already. He's thrown a couple of real good straight change-ups. If he can get those 2 pitches going early, it doesn't matter if he finds a slider. Rich admitted himself that lengthy at bat that he had against Garrett Atkins leading off the second inning in his last start against the Rockies really unnerved him. Lost his focus, lost his command of his pitches a little bit. They try to really stay focused on every pitch to every hitter in this start.
Eight of his 24 home runs last year, Joey Votto, were against the Cubs. So a third of his home runs came in just 15 games against one team. That's a pretty powerful list right there. If it weren't for Giovanni, and that's just outside, actually thinking of Jay Bruce from the Rookie of the Year balloting, but they've got some good young left-handed hitters. I mean, no Dunn, no Griffey, but they do have Votto and Bruce. Yeah, Bruce finished second to Gio last year in the Rookie of the Year as that's gobbled up by Derek Lee. He'll step on first, and Rich Harden with a perfect 1-2-3 top of the first. The Cubs are coming up against Micah Owings when we come back. campus, right under the famous marquee. Here's Lou Pinella's Pepsi lineup for tonight's series opener against the Reds. Brought to you by Pepsi. Refresh everything. Soriano, Fukudome, and Lee at the top. Hoffpower, Ramirez, Fontenot in the middle. Soto, Terrio, and Harden at the bottom.
Take a look at the Reds defensively. Dickerson, Taveras, and Bruce across the outfield. Taveras, as we know from his days in Houston, can really cover a lot of ground. Encarnacion and Gonzalez on the left side. Phillips and Votto on the right side of the infield. Ramon Hernandez doing the catching for right-hander Micah Owings.
And he missed on the first one, ball one. He's probably sick of people talking about his hitting. His #1 focus is his work on the mound. This is only his second start. He gave up 2 home runs in 5 innings in his first outing. 1 ball, 1 strike on Soriano. A tall righty coming back, and he went around on a pitch that was off the plate inside, 1-2.
You see a 3-pitch mix from Mike Owings, a fastball that'll tail inside to the right-handers away from the lefties. He'll throw a slider, an occasional straight changeup. As I mentioned in the open of the show, nothing really off the charts fantastic. On a given day, he can be very good.
Coming over is Jay Bruce to take it away from Taveras. It's going to be one of those nights with the wind playing tricks.
And the limited amount of playing time that the corner outfielders for the Reds, Chris Dickerson and Jay Bruce, have had in this ballpark, Willie Taveras is really going to have to take charge in the outfield. He does not on this play. He works out okay for the Reds, but this is the kind of night you really rely on a veteran player who's played under a variety of conditions here at Wrigley Field.
Kosuke Fukudome swings at the first one and fouls it back to the top of the screen. 1 strike. Off to a fantastic start. Off the outside corner. Starting tonight, the Cubs will play almost 3 full weeks without their next scheduled off day. 20 in a row, and I believe that's the most you can play without an off day, without union approval. A 1-2 pitch, a swing and a miss, and 2 quick outs. After this 3-game series, it's off to St. Louis in Arizona, then back home to play the red-hot Marlins and Giants. Then a Houston-Milwaukee trip. That sounds familiar. Didn't we already do that?
Part-time residents in those 2 cities. I'll tell you what, though, Len, early in the season, I don't think a stretch of consecutive games really bothers the players that much. They're very excited to get the regular season underway. Quite honestly, a lot of the Cubs players are just a little bit out of sync, either on the mound or at the plate right now. And a run of games like that without an off day, I think, can only help.
Well, they're also used to it. And actually, playing every day is no big deal after spring training when you're up at 6 o'clock every morning. And then by September, that's when you'd rather have those extra off days, especially with your pitching staff, even though you have the expanded roster. Fouled back by Lee. Going to take care of that chest protector and keep it dry.
Oh, yeah. So tend to get a little heavy once they get wet. It looks like the precipitation has stopped completely now. A light mist had fallen throughout the early evening here at Wrigley, but it seems to have stopped now. And once again, Len, a huge tip of the cap to Roger Baird and his grounds crew. This field has taken a boatload of water over the last couple days and looks and plays absolutely perfect. To center. Taveras was going back, but he reverses course and heads way in to make the catch. No base runners through 1 on a windy, chilly night here at Wrigley.
his football gear in January. Not quite yet.
Not yet. Soon, but not yet.
That could get a little confusing because the Bears logo very similar to the Reds logo at Wishbone C. A swinging strike on Brandon Phillips, who, believe it or not, has hit just .206 in his career against the Cubs. He's 0 for his last 17, but we both know cleanup man coming in struggling. You have to be a little concerned about that because he's going to break out of it at some point. But again, Bob, I would expect, especially based on what we saw in the first inning, these two pitchers are really going to challenge the right-handed hitters in particular.
I think you'd be silly not to on a night like this. We've had this discussion over the years, whether you're better off pitching your stuff to a hitter or are you better off pitching to the conditions at the ballpark. And I've always been an advocate of taking advantage of Mother Nature when you can. And Mother Nature right now is saying to right-handers, don't come out here to left field. There's nothing for you.
And Phillips doing what I think a lot of right-handers will try to do, and that is shoot the ball the other way.
Which would seem to be the right approach against Rich Harden anyway, because he throws so many of those changeups. If you're trying to sit on fastball and pull it into left field, you're just not going to have a lot of luck because the wind blowing in from left field. Also, that changeup is so devastating. If you're sitting on a fastball, you're going to be way out in front of the changeup.
Little floater caught by Fontenot. That soft liner was very enticing, and Mike was just able to get it.
Full swing by a powerful right-handed hitter from our Southwest Skycam. You see that little floating line drive. Fontenot times his leap perfectly, gets it up in the webbing of the glove, and is able to hang on as he crashes to the turf. Nice play.
Here's the aforementioned Jay Bruce at 176. A lot of low batting averages in this Reds lineup, and I had it right first. Votto finished second behind Soto in the Rookie of the Year last year. Jay Bruce finished fifth. But Bob, the most interesting guy in the top five was Edinson Volquez, even though he wasn't a rookie. So even if he had been voted the Rookie of the Year, he couldn't win it. He was technically not eligible for the award.
So why vote for him?
Well, obviously the voters thought he was a rookie. So I guess you could have won that award.
I don't think I can fool anybody into believing I'm a rookie right now.
Actually, a lot of guys on that list in the ballpark tonight. Kosuke Fukudome finished sixth. That's driven deep to right, and again, that's the place to hit it. And Jay Bruce has given the Reds a 1-0 lead. That's his second home run of the season. It's only their 9th home run as a team. They came in second to last in the NL in home runs.
That's definitely the place to hit him if you want to try to get a ball out of here tonight. Kind of a line drive home run just inside the right field line. Jay Bruce was the Reds minor league player of the year a couple of years ago. As you said, man, they've got a lot of second-year players, guys that have part of a year in the big leagues, young guys on this Reds ball club.
Encarnacion at 194, but he's walked 11 times, and his on-base percentage is almost 400. Outside corner strike, 1-2. I think Jay Bruce just said, I think that was a changeup. If I read his lips correctly. Foul tip strikeout. And the 2 for Harden. Plan your next corporate function or family gathering in the comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites, presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. Be sure to ask about the April and May incentives. To book your suite or for more information, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-Cubs. It's nice to be able to open a door and walk inside on a night like this. just for a couple of minutes. Say cheese, Bob.
Cheese. Cheese. Cheese already.
Ramon Hernandez hits a ground ball to Fontenot, and he's thrown out easily. Jay Bruce with a line drive home run just into the bleachers out at right, and the Reds lead 1-0. One of our satellite podcast studios. Doing some work here early in the evening. Check out our blog. It's Micah versus Micah. Owings against Hoffpower. Strike one. I have a post on the matchup tonight. We have video of the Northside Twist, the giant pretzel. Also, check out this week's podcast, and we'll also have information, a ticket information. For those who had tickets to the game that was rained out Sunday night, it will be made up against the Cardinals as part of a split doubleheader on Sunday, July 12th at 12:05. But again, you can check out our blog. We'll have all the updated info, and you can see our smiling faces. Len and Bob's weekly podcast.
You had them right up until the smiling faces part.
2 strikes on Hoffpower. He was going to start for Derek Lee on Sunday, and Lou joked before the game was rained out that he was avoiding Derek because he was going to be on the bench for the first time. But after 2 straight off days, Lee in there, Hoffpower again in right for Milton Bradley. And that'll be just out of play. Sounds like Bradley's not too far away with the groin injury. He's been able to pinch hit. And why chance it on a night like this?
Yeah, just reading between the lines some of the things that were said down in Lou's office in the coach's room this afternoon. It sounded like if the conditions were different, we probably would have seen Milton out in right field tonight. But no sense risking further injury with the conditions as they are tonight.
High fly ball for Hoffpower, and it will to the back of the bleachers. It's 1-1. First homer of the year for Hoffpower, and he gave it a ride.
First bomb of the year for Micah Hoffpower. He has such tremendous plate coverage. That pitch is up and out over the plate. He goes out and hooks it back to right field. Our Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 394 feet over the bleachers in right field. Hit some kind of a railing out there on the walkway and bounced all the way back on the field.
Well, when Micah faces Micah, he's 1 for 1 with a home run. That was Saturday's hero, Aramis Ramirez. Well, we're not right that often, but we had a feeling right field was going to be the place. The wind is blowing as hard as we've seen it blow, and it was blowing really hard on opening day. The pennants out in center are completely stiff right now. Those are the right field flags.
Now that's the one ball that may get penalized. That floater down the right field line that normally would land fair is going to get pushed way up into the stands. But if you start anything hit pretty firm to straightaway right field, it's got a good chance to blow out of here into that corner.
You know who that should help tonight is Giovanni Soto. His manager has really pounded home the idea to Giovanni Soto. Think center and right center. And if Gio can get one up in that jet stream, might end up with his first extra base hit of the year. It's been a struggle for Gio. He's battled the injury. And coming in tonight at just 105, 2 for 19.
Common approach by most hitting instructors. When a guy's struggling a little bit with his timing, you want to work your way back around, and by that they mean start driving the ball hard to the opposite field, and eventually that timing where you pull balls, you should pull and drive balls to the opposite field, you should drive that way. It will come back.
Dickerson will pick it up and keep Ramirez to a sharp single. He's 7 for his last 14 now. And here's Mike Fontenot. Mike just 1 for 15 here at home. Cubs are 3-2 on what has become an 8-game homestand with the rain out Sunday. Haven't lost a series yet. Unbeaten in their first 4 sets to start a season for the first time since 1980. They went unbeaten at 6 straight that year. Went to Tulane University. He's from Gainesville, Georgia. 3rd round pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2005.
And as much as I'm sure people, or rather Micah, would like people to talk about his pitching prowess, when you look at the numbers, he's just been an okay pitcher. But when you look at those offensive stats, they jump off the page, going all the way back to when this kid was in high school. 25 home runs his senior year of high school, set a Georgia State record. And he's carried it right into the minors and the big leagues with him. He can swing that bat. Been used as a pinch hitter already this season by Dusty Baker. Bob Melvin in Arizona used him as a pinch hitter repeatedly.
The 3-1 to Fontenot swung on and missed. 3-2. There's Soto on deck. Very short lead by Ramirez. He is running on the 3-2, and it's ball 4. There you go. First time in Major League history, one Micah has homered off another. And unless Michael Hoffpower pitches tonight, he'll hold that record by himself.
Well, hopefully there'll only be one Micah hitting home runs in this ball game tonight.
Let's see, Micah Bowie. Trying to think of the other Micahs in baseball. So here's Gio, 2 on, and nobody out in a 1-1 tie. Reds are in double play depth. And I have a feeling, Bob, Dusty Baker's going to witness a lot of very pretty double plays turned this year with Alex Gonzalez, who missed all of last year with a knee injury, and last year's Gold Glove winner at second, Brandon Phillips.
Electric hands, yeah, electric hands for both those guys around the bag.
High in the air, fairly deep, but it's going to be caught by Bruce. Ramirez will tag, and he'll end up standing at third. So they're at the corners with 1 out. Baby steps, right?
Absolutely. I was just thinking the same thing, Len. It resulted in a fly ball to right field and an at bat for Giovanni Soto, but he did move Aramis Ramirez up to third base, and he drove the ball hard to the opposite field.
Ontario batting 8th in the Cubs lineup. Harden now on deck. And again, the Reds in double play depth. Ramirez at third, Fontenot at first, and a called strike. Cubs are leading the division by percentage points over St. Louis. The Reds are just a half game back at 7-5. They've had a really good road trip. They're 5-2. Played last night in Houston and won.
Well, the Reds, however, may have some issues in their bullpen. Their closer, Cordero, has pitched in 3 of the last 4 games and back-to-back outings when he threw over 30 pitches. We're assuming that David Weathers would be the guy that Dusty and Dick Pole would call upon to save a game should the Reds be ahead late.
0-2 pitch, hit foul. Ryan Theriot is hitting .412 with 2 strikes on him. It's certainly a tough guy to strike out. Owings has a sign from Hernandez. And he's going to toss to first.
A little miscommunication there between Ramon Hernandez and Micah Owings on the mound, and anytime you have a runner at third and a pitcher starts up into his set position and doesn't like the sign from the catcher, it was a borderline balk right there as Owens stepped off the rubber.
Finally the pitch in on the hands again. I feel like Ryan Theriot could hit that ball foul all night.
I think back in the history of the game, back in my playing days, Billy Buckner was great at that, getting to a 2-strike count and fouling off those borderline pitchers' pitches until eventually the guy would make a mistake. He'd hang out a line drive somewhere. Wade Boggs throughout his career was very adept at that.
And a base hit for Theriot, and the Cubs lead as Ramirez will cross the plate. 4th RBI for Theriot on the season, and it's 2-1.
Typical battling at bat by Ryan Theriot. Fouled off the borderline pitches, finally gets an off-speed pitch up in the middle of the plate and spanks it right back up the middle of the field for a base hit. It's that front foot of Ryan Theriot up on his toe, and then that little bit of a leg kick, gets the foot back down quickly and drives that bat through the hitting area.
Well, it sounds weird to say, Bob, but there are 2 reasons you want to knock Owings out of the game as early as you can. You want to get to that bullpen early, and you You take his bat out of the lineup, and when he starts, Dusty has one less option in terms of pinch hitters. Good bunt by Harden. Owens will pick it up. Safe. He beat it out. That'll be an infield hit. A bunt single for Rich Harden, and they're loaded up for Soriano. That was a beauty.
Just absolutely perfectly placed down that third base line, away from the catcher, in front of the third baseman. I mean, Owens got off the mound quickly, got to the ball quickly, made a strong throw, but Rich Harden just beat it to first base.
And Dick Cole, former Cubs coach, will head out with his starter in a lot of trouble. And while we have a moment, let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. Alfonso Soriano with a 7-game hit streak coming in. Game-winning home run Friday. Tied for first in the National League with 5 home runs. That's tonight's Toyota moving forward, thanks to Toyota.
And then we talked about Aramis Ramirez being ever dangerous in the open of the show, and Soriano certainly falls into that same category. Saw him strike out 3 times against P.J. Walters against the Cardinals, but came up with the big home run late in the ball game. Every at bat he steps in the box, he's in scoring position.
So they are loaded up. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1. Four hits and a walk in the inning. And the Cubs trying to get a bunch more. Good slider. 1-1. Done a lot of damage with nobody on, trying to do some here with 3 on as he just cracked his bat. Well, they already want to know about the prom. We're happy to facilitate.
I don't know. Must be some special girls watching the Cubs game tonight to get their prom invitations.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. And Soriano strikes out. So 2 outs. And it's up to Kosuke. It's the second strikeout for Owens.
They want to pitch up and out of the strike zone. Fastball, belt high, off the outside corner of the plate. Might have been by design in that particular situation, but Owens doesn't always hit his spots. You'll watch Ramon Hernandez move around behind the plate, and the pitches are not always at the target.
8th batter of the inning. Slicing fly ball, but Taveras had plenty of time to get over there. Had to come in a couple of steps. And Owens digs out of trouble. He did give up a couple, including a long blast by another Micah Hawkpower, who tied it up. Cubs later took the lead on the Terrio RBI single. It's 2-1 for the home team. 3-1 Cubs. Hey, Cub fans, don't forget to visit the WGN Sports Game Zone at WGNTV.com. Brought to you by The Great Escape, for up-to-the-minute stats and information designed to give you everything you need to know during the game. The WGN Sports Game Zone is available for every Cubs game. It's brought to you by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more. Michael Hoffpower with his third career home run. Cubs would add one later in the second. 2-1 they lead. A swing and a miss by Alex Gonzalez, off to a slow start at the plate. Up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Owings and then Taveras for the Reds. Competitive season series last year. The Cubs won 8 of 15. This is the first of 15 meetings this season. They've been battling since 1890.
In a good way. We mentioned the Reds off to a slow start with the long ball this season, but playing in that bandbox in Cincinnati, you know they're going to make it up as they get more and more home games and the weather starts to heat up.
Aaron Harang, coming off a rough year last year, dropped a lot of weight in the offseason. He'll pitch on the Thursday afternoon against Carlos Zambrano. They've matched up a lot. It's 3-2 on Gonzalez. Here's the pitch. Foul tip, strike 3. Strikeout per inning for Rich Harden. And Bob, maybe what Rich is kind of looking for is maybe not, 4 straight, 5 straight strikeouts to start a game and a ton of deep counts, but maybe sprinkle in 1 or 2 per inning. Get into that pitching instead of throwing mentality that you talked about earlier.
Well, this is a good team to do it against. You mentioned the Reds have not been swinging the bat well, hitting .218 as a team coming into play tonight, and several guys in their starting lineup tonight are considered free swingers. In the book that I saw down in the coach's room, a lot of guys are chasing out of the strike zone, maybe a little overly anxious early in the season, so that would play right into Rich's hands.
The outside corner. He has really struggled on the mound as a starter. Back to the end of May last year when he was with Arizona. Two for 3 as a pinch hitter with 2 doubles already this year. 5 career home runs. Silver Slugger Award winner in 2007. He batted twice before he even pitched this year, and he batted last year for the Reds and didn't pitch after he got traded. And he had a couple of game-winning RBIs, including against his former team.
.354 hitter in the minor leagues, a .319 hitter at the big league level coming into this season.
Call, strike 3. So Harden comes back after a 2-0 start. And that's his 4th strikeout, 2nd of the inning.
Caught the opposing pitcher looking for something else right there. That is a fastball right down Main Street, middle of the thighs, middle of the plate. So that only happens to good hitting pitchers. Take a fastball down the middle. Bad hitting pitchers are going to hack at anything they see. Mike Owings apparently trying to guess along that time with Rich Harden and came up empty.
Taveras with 2 outs and nobody on. Fastball missing, ball 1. Full slate around the majors. We'll keep you posted as we move along. Infield pop. for Derek Lee, right near the bag, makes the catch, and the inning is over. 5 straight retired by Harden since the Bruce homer. It's 2-1 Cubs. Reds 1 on a damp, cold night on the north side of Chicago. First of a 3-game series before the Cubs hit the road. And Derek Lee hits the first pitch on the ground to Alex Gonzalez, who fires it across. 1 pitch, 1 out.
The 2009 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Budweiser Select. Full flavor, 99 calories, the exception to the rule.
Umpires are all set. And Michael Hoffpower set for second AB. Owings has done a good job against the top of the order. 1 through 3 in the Cubs lineup, 0 for 6. But from Hoffpower on down, Owings has only retired 1. It's Giovanni Soto. The wind and the 2-0 way outside. Got some rain in Baltimore and Washington. Those games got off to a late start. White Sox and Orioles scoreless in the second. Atlanta leading the Nationals 3-1 in the bottom of the third. Nationals off to a 2-10 start. On the other side, Florida 11-2. Their long winning streak ended last night. And they trail again at Pittsburgh 3-2 in the bottom of the seventh. I saw catcher Ryan Domit has to have wrist surgery, and he's going to be out about 8 to 10 weeks. Broken bone in his right wrist. It's a pretty damaging blow to the Pirates. And Micah will get another chance. I'll tell you, Votto didn't get anywhere near that ball.
You read the body language of Ramon Hernandez, the catcher. He's saying, somebody catch this ball. I don't want anything to do with it. Joey Votto came in way too far. We talked about that wind pushing everything toward foul ground down the right field line, and Votto did not account for the wind that time. New life for Micah Hoffpower.
Let's see if he could take advantage.
Make it hurt.
Here it is. And he does. He walked him. So it's Ramirez with 1 on and 1 out instead of nobody on and 2 outs. Now a little bit of a bobble there at third, but they still turn it 5-4-3. Nice acrobatic move by Phillips to jump over the sliding Hoffpauir. It's 2-1 Cubs after 3. Get out the heavy blankets tonight. You seen any snuggies here at the ballpark?
I'm sure if we looked hard enough we could find one or two.
That's the end thing, I guess. As Chris Dickerson fouls it away. We're underway in the fourth. 2-1 Cubs. Back-to-back lefties for the Reds. Dickerson and Votto, and then Brandon Phillips. Ted Lilly was going to pitch Sunday night. He will pitch tomorrow night, and Sean Marshall, who is going to go tomorrow, will be backed up to Saturday as Dickerson got under one, and Hoffpauir still back, and he's in the middle of the track to haul it in. Marshall is available in the bullpen for the first couple of games of this series. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Strike on Votto. A couple of Canadians battling here. Harden from British Columbia. Joey Votto, born in Toronto, Ontario. I hate to point this out, but it was in all the papers the other day. Rich Harden admitted that he grew up listening to the Calgary Flames on the radio. So he's in kind of a tough spot during the Blackhawks Flames series.
I think I might have kept that to myself until after the series was over.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you can understand that. Yeah, as a kid, he said he used to listen to the games on the radio, had the transistor under his pillow at night, would fall asleep listening to the Flames games, but that was then, this is now.
Well, one guy who's certainly rooting for the Blackhawks, and he does not like the Calgary Flames growing up in British Columbia, Ryan Dempster, who had quite a plaid sport coat
yes,
on
he did.
at the game Saturday. Shot the puck between periods.
Is that the Don Cherry? Is that
the Don Cherry, the Canadian broadcaster who does Coach's Corner, and wears some pretty flamboyant outfits.
It looked like Dempster got in his closet.
There's a cat on the field. And we'll have a little delay here.
I'm betting on the cat.
Careful. Okay. Here, kitty.
In Seattle at the old King Dome. Yeah, just like that. The cat says, I am not going to go peacefully.
Oh, careful.
Well, some ballparks have bring your dog to the ballpark day. I don't think those bring your cat to Wrigley night, but welcome cats. As long as they don't interrupt play.
Seen some of the winter weather. I thought we might see a snow cat here, but not a real one. Yeah, Ron knows all about cats.
Probably had a little flashback there.
Yeah. I don't think he liked that play either. I think he's seen cats. I don't think Ron would.
Probably not. Occasionally when you walk into that radio booth, though, it smells like cats. I don't understand where that could possibly be from, but
3-2 to Votto, ball 4. So for the first time tonight, Harden will have to work from the stretch.
Let's see what kind of adjustment that is for Rich. Get this deep into the ball game, into the 4th inning before you have to pitch out of the stretch. And then sometimes it takes a batter or two to find your rhythm out of that abbreviated delivery.
Down by Soto.
Gio's worked enough with Rich Harden now that he knows on that changeup there's just as good a chance that he's going to bounce it in the dirt as he's going to throw it in the strike zone. That's what the pitch is designed to do. Gets up close to that hitting area, the bottom just falls out of it, and Gio pounced all over that one.
That's a strike. 1-1.
If you're going to miss with a changeup, you would much prefer to miss in the dirt than leave it up around the belt or up around the letters where the hitter gets a real good look at it. When it's down low at the bottom of the strike zone and falling into the dirt, you may still get some swings and misses at that pitch.
Kick and the 1-1. Phillips was late. A little extra mustard on that one. 94 on the Heat.
Yeah, so far no adjustment problems throwing out of the stretch. Phillips is one of the players on the scouting report that said he was really expanding his strike zone, especially up, chasing a lot of high fastballs, a lot of off-speed pitches off that outside corner.
Check swing foul. Harden has beaten the Reds in his 2 previous starts against them, including last year at Gem here at Wrigley Field. 5-0, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. He was really on. Working with a 2-1 lead. Runner goes, called strike 3. Did he get him on the tag? I guess not. Terrio was trying to get Votto maybe on the helmet, but he just missed him. But they do get Phillips on the strikeout, and they're 2 away.
Votto got a pretty decent jump over there at first base from our Southwest Sky Cam. When you see a ball sail like that, it usually indicates the catcher did not get the seams before making his throw to second base, and
he might have gotten him on the hand.
On the left wrist there as Votto went sliding past. Very tough call for an umpire to make.
It's only the second successful steal against the Cubs. This is their 12th game.
Yeah, ideally any position player, but especially a catcher, when you have to make that quick throw to second base, you reach into that glove and get rid of the ball as quickly as you can, and you just hope that you find some seams so you can get across those seams, make a truer throw to second base. But sometimes in your haste to make that throw, you come out of there with a smooth ball, and it might sail anywhere on its way down to second base, and that one really started to take off toward right center.
Bruce with a line drive home run his first time up. This one's to left. We'll see if Soriano will have a chance. Nope. And that also looked familiar. Cub fans booing that fan. I don't know if Alfonso would have caught it. Boy, the cat on the field. You get the fly ball down the line. Some strange reminders here. Gosh.
If I see a goat run on the field, I'm heading home.
A 1-2 pitch. Pulled. That's a base hit. And Votto's going to score. And it's 2-2. Jay Bruce with 2 RBIs tonight. I don't think they're saying Bruce.
I don't think so.
Here at Wrigley.
Well, you can see Gio wanted that pitch up. It was about middle of the thighs on the inside corner. We talked about Jay Bruce being the minor league player for the Reds a couple of years ago. This guy can hit. Quick bat on pitches from the middle of the plate in.
Inning still alive for Encarnacion. Fastball strike.
I don't know about you, Len, but it didn't look like Soriano was going to have a play on that ball. It was right close to the retaining wall down the left field line, very similar to the Bartman ball, but Fonzie was on the dead run. I don't think he would have had a play on it.
I think I would be with you on that. 1-1.
But it illustrates how tough that wind is tonight. We talked about it pushing balls out of play on the right field side down the line, but anything hit down the left field line will get pushed back toward the field of play. So when that ball came off the bat, I thought it was going to be well up into the stands, but very nearly made it back to foul territory.
Hard firing to first. Bruce has to dive back. And the next one. He took it. Change up to make it 1-2. Former Cubs manager back here at Wrigley Field and dressed appropriately for the occasion. A little extra dirt over there at first. The leadoff area. There he goes on a 2-2 swing and a miss. Doesn't matter as Encarnacion strikes out. Was it Mel Allen who said some strange happenings at Wrigley Field? It's 2-2.
The game sponsored by Comcast. Joey Votto stealing second base on a called strike 3 to Brandon Phillips. Very close as to whether Ryan Theriot was able to get that tag down on the wrist of Votto. He was called safe at second base. Later came around to score on the Jay Bruce single. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is sponsored by Comcast.
Tie game 2-2. And strike one on Fontenot. 6, 7, and 8. And if anybody gets on, Rich Harden for the Cubs in the fourth. Popped him up on the infield. Encarnacion with the one-handed catch. That ball almost popped out of his mitt.
Looked like. I'll tell you, Len, it's been a big week for Gerald Perry. Just last week had his first grandson. And today he wants to wish a happy anniversary to his lovely wife, Tara. Celebrating their 20th anniversary today. Congratulations to the Perrys.
I'm going to send out happy birthday wishes. Big Cubs fan Al Broder of Elk Grove Village, Illinois. Outside corner on Soto. And a shout out to 12-year-old Austin Nichols from Crest Hill watching in Milwaukee tonight. Austin, we hope you're feeling better. Soto sends it high in the air, fairly deep, and this one will be run down by Bruce out on the track. So Gio's flied out twice to right. That one a little deeper than the first one.
And once again, the results have not been there for Gio in the ball game tonight, but I think you have to be very encouraged by his approach at the plate. Talk about working your way back around, trying to drive the ball to the opposite field. Most of the time when a guy gets in trouble at the plate, a guy like Giovanni Soto, is because he's opening up too quickly. The front shoulder, the front hip flies open. You become susceptible to pitches away, lazy fly balls to the outfield. Try to drive that ball to the opposite field. You'll work your way back around. And so far in this game, he's driven the ball hard to right field twice.
Up to Theriot. As Owings tries to work his second 1-2-3 inning. The other one was the first. It is below the knees, 2-1. A pitch hit foul. Yankees lead Oakland 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Only one home run tonight. Johnny Damon. Balls have been flying out of Yankee Stadium left and right. A lot of them in right. A controversial home run call on Sunday. Jorge Posada. They had to review it, and they did call it a home run. Called strike 3, and that's it. Number 3 for Owings. We're 2-2 after 4 from Wrigley Field. Two ties. We get into the 5th. Watch the Cubs take on the Florida Marlins Thursday, April 30th at 7:05. Be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Cubs car flag. Compliments of Pepsi. That'll be a pretty big early season 4-game series between two of the better teams in the league. Well, the Marlins off to a great start. They just put their left-hander Andrew Miller on the DL. One strike on Ramon Hernandez. Bounces it past Harden, but right to Fontenot.
And while we have a moment here, I would like to extend an invitation to any Cub fan who can't make it down to St. Louis this Friday. We had great success last year when the Peoria Chiefs played here at Wrigley Field. More than 30,000 Cub fans showed up to watch the ball game. Well, the Peoria Chiefs are playing against the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers at Miller Park this Friday night at 7:05. I think it'd be a good experience for those young men to get used to the migration of Cub fans up the freeway to check out a game at Miller Park. So if you're not doing anything else Friday night, if you don't have tickets for the Cardinals game down in St. Louis against the Cubs, why not head on up to Miller Park? You can check out Brewers.com to get tickets or call the Brewers ticket office. I know I'm going to be heading up the road to check out that ball game. Dave Otto is going to fill in for me that night with you, and I do appreciate that, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be a great night. The Iowa Cubs will be here at Wrigley Field later on this season against the Las Vegas 51s. 3-0 on Alex Gonzalez. As Soto heads out.
They're calling that game at Miller Park against the Timber Rattlers and the Chiefs, the border battle. Tickets are $10 a piece, so if you're not doing anything else Friday night, head on up the road and watch the Stars of Tomorrow play.
Wind in the pitch, and it's outside, and Gonzalez takes the 1-out walk. Strange to say, but you hate walking the 8-hitter in front of Owings with his power.
Well, Alex Gonzalez is a guy that is normally very tough to walk anyway. He's another one of the Reds veteran hitters that has been a little overly anxious in the early going this season.
Without looking it up, I don't know for sure. I'm going to guess the answer is no. As Owings is showing bunt, but you know Bob Melvin real well and worked with him. Was there ever a thought of him DHing in interleague play?
Well, I'm sure the subject came up several times in interleague play, and it had to be tempting. But I think, just like Lewis talked about hitting the pitcher in the 8th spot when Zambrano pitches, you don't want to offend your position players who are looking forward to getting those at bats in the DH spot. I mean, depending on which year we're talking about, the Diamondbacks had Tony Clark, a guy that would seem perfectly suited to be a DH in interleague play. Other guys maybe that needed a day off from their defensive duties, just let them get 4 or 5 at bats in the game as the DH. So I'm sure it was considered, but I don't think it ever happened.
Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. I guess I come back. I do understand that idea, but as a manager, isn't your job ultimately to put the best 9 players for that day in your lineup, however it works out? And if a pitcher is one of those guys, I don't know. I might think about it. Got him, called strike 3. So he pumped up Owings as a hitter, and he's been called out twice on strikes.
Well, we didn't pump him up for no reason. I mean,
he's good.
He's good. This guy's the first pitcher to have 2 4-hit games in the same season since Whitey Ford back in 1953. I mean, he had a game for the ages against the Atlanta Braves back in 07. Had 4 hits, including 2 homers, scored 4 times, and drove in 6 runs. He's had a game with 3 doubles at the big league level. I mean, he can swing the bat. Fortunately, we caught him on a good night so far.
And actually, if he did an interview right now, he would probably say he's okay with that because he's settled in on the mound. In some ways, if you're the Cubs, you'd rather have him have a better day at the plate. One and one on Taveras. Gonzalez walked with 1 out. The kick in the pitch, just got a piece of it. Former Cub player and coach Chris Spire, the bench coach for Dusty Baker. A lot of former Cubs coaches have been with Dusty now for the last couple of years in Cincinnati. Dick Cole, Chris Spire, Juan Lopez out in the bullpen. Ground ball back to Harden. He drops it. He better hurry. Slips, and no chance. Taveras, one of the fastest players in baseball. I'd like to see Willie Taveras against Joey Gathright running to first. It'll be a hit. That ball was hit sharply.
Just couldn't field it cleanly. Still had a chance as he bounced on that ball quickly, but when he lost his footing, no chance to get the speedy Taveras at first base. Hey, you talk about the fastest players in the game. Ironically, in the newest issue of Baseball America, Jason Stark has a poll of scouts around baseball. Who are the fastest guys you've seen? So far this year, number 1 is Emilio Bonifacio from the Florida Marlins. Fastest player I've ever seen in my life, one scout said. Hanley Ramirez is on the list. Willie Taveras from the Reds on the list. Joey Gathright. Also on that list, Trevor Crowe from the Cleveland Indians and Michael Bourne from the Houston Astros. So not a lot of speed being utilized in baseball. The stolen base has kind of become a lost art, but you don't have to steal bases to show your speed. Bonifacio with an inside the park home run on opening day. Almost had another one on game 2 of the season.
A 1-1 to Dickerson, is swing and a miss. Well, Taveras stole 68 bases last year, and he thinks he could steal 100 if he can get on base more often. Harden already with 7 Ks. And he's a strike away from number 8. Ground ball to the shortstop, Terrio. Throw's going to go to first, and it's dug out by Derek Lee. And that ends the inning. It saved Ryan Terrio and possibly a run. It's still 2-2 midway in the 5th. Fifth, Harden, Soriano, Fukudome for the home team. Called strike on Harden. Picked up a bunt single in the 2nd. He's 2 for 5 on the year. No extra base hits in his career. Rich is a good athlete. Played some hockey as a kid, played tennis. Can't really play those 2 sports until he retires from baseball as he grounds out 4-3. Oh, we have a second. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN.
WWE Superstars, Thursday at 8 East 8 West on WGN America.
Swing and a miss on a slider. 1 strike on Soriano, who's 0 for 2. But we found out the other day, I mean, in the case of Soriano and Ramirez, you can have a really slow start, but you put those guys in a big spot late, and they can win the game. And that's what happened Friday and Saturday.
Well, not only late in a close ball game, but if you make a mistake at any point in the ball game. I mean, Mike Owens executed that slider just off the outside corner perfectly on the first pitch here to Soriano. But if he would happen to hang that same pitch in the strike zone, especially down there around the bottom of the kneecaps, watch out.
So 1 for 5, 1 for 6, 2 for 11 for Soriano and Ramirez if you combine their Friday and Saturday stats, and they each hit a game-winning 2-run home. That's all that matters. 2. All the Cubs hits, they have 4 of them, came in the second when they scored twice and had the bases loaded after that with only 1 out. But Owings struck out Soriano, got Fukudome on a fly out, and Alfonso walks. Here's Kosuke for the 3rd time.
Dick Bull questioning Randy Marsh behind home plate where that pitch missed. It looked like a backup slider. Started on the inside part of the plate and stayed in there. Checks on Soriano over at first. 2 out of 3 in stolen bases this season. Owings occasionally can get real slow to home plate. He's a big guy out there on the mound. Normally we'll use a slide step with a speedy runner on at first base, but every now and then we'll go to that big leg kick, and if you guess right, he's easy to run on.
Ramon Hernandez just 1 for 9 and throwing out base stealers to start the year. Missed away. 2 balls, no strikes.
Reds have a fine young backup catcher, Ryan Hannigan, who a lot of people close to the team think is eventually going to work his way into a starting role with this Reds ball club. Strong arm catcher, swinging the bat a little bit early in the season. Right now, he's pretty much Bronson Arroyo's valet catcher, but is trying to work his way into some more playing time.
And Hannigan has had 3 tries. He's 3 for 3 in nailing base stealers. Owings has lost his command. He just walked Soriano. He's now 3-1 on Fukudome. Matt Sinatra, the first base coach, whispering some instructions to his runner. Soriano with a medium lead. And he is on the move. Ball 4. Back-to-back walks. I'd be very curious when it comes to back-to-back unintentional walks, how often in that inning the offensive team does not score. I'd have to say it's pretty rare. That'd be my guess. I think you have a pretty great chance to at least get 1 when you get back-to-back unintentional walks in any inning. Doesn't mean the Cubs are going to score here, but not only does that mean 2 free base runners, but pitcher struggling with his command. Many times that command could be within the strike zone, and maybe Owens will make a mistake in this spot. High fly to deep left for Derek Lee. Is there enough there? It's dropped by the left fielder Dickerson. Soriano is going to stop at third. Only a 15-mile-an-hour wind kept that ball from being a 3-run homer. It'll be an error on the left fielder. He got there, but again on a windy night, there are no easy fly balls, and they're loaded up.
Now that ball just does not take a true path. Dickerson gets out there in pretty good shape right up against the vines. You see him reaching out that left hand. He just missed that ball. And really pushing it over toward the gap in left center field. And look at that mess right there by the Reds. But the second baseman, the third baseman, the first baseman all standing in the same location as the ball came back into the infield. Obviously some kind of miscommunication there.
And the other thing, Bob, for Dickerson is that ball almost hit the basket. I mean, you got the overhang there, so he's battling with the wind, and he might have flinched just a little bit with that overhang.
Boy, any other night for Derek Lee. I mean, he absolutely mashed that ball. I mean, we've seen what that wind has done to some hard hit balls already to left and center field. No wind or a little breeze blowing out to left, and that ball's out onto Waveland Avenue easily.
Hoffpower pulls one foul. Way out front. Get a new bat. Action, Mike Lincoln. Up for the Reds. Soriano and Fukudome had to wait to see what happened with that fly ball. That's why they were only able to advance one base. The second time Hoffpower has batted at this level with the bases loaded. He struck out the other time. Ball and 2 strikes.
Good arms across the Reds outfield. Chris Dickerson in left field, very accurate, gets rid of the ball quickly. Taveras in center has a cannon. Jay Bruce we haven't seen a lot of in right field, but we're told he's a good defender with a strong arm as well.
The 1-2 pitch outside. 2-2. Doesn't get much easier, does it, for Micah Owings with Ramirez on deck? Well, he's not worried about him right now. He's trying to find a way to retire Micah Hoffpower, who's hit a home run and walked. 2-2 pop foul. Saw Hall of Famer Billy Williams in the dugout before the game tonight. He remembers many days, not nights, but days like this at Wrigley Field. We've talked to Billy many times about the Hank Aaron fly ball. It should have been a home run, but the wind pushed it back, and the Boltzmann no-hitter. Fly ball deep. Taveras at the track. He has it. It'll be a sac fly as Soriano will score. Fukudome to third. Hoffpower gave that one a ride. And the Cubs have the lead again, 3-2. Second RBI tonight for Micah.
Well, we've talked over the years how Wrigley Field plays as a different ballpark depending on the conditions. Derek Lee would have had a home run under different conditions. Micah Hoffpower certainly would have had another home run. That ball driven deep just to the right of straightaway center. Soriano will jog home. And Fukudome able to advance second to third on that deep fly ball.
Two walks, an error, and a sac fly. And the Cubs lead 3-2 up and in on Aramis.
Well, that looked like it was headed right for the bill of Aramis Ramirez. Helmet right there, just able to turn away, does it properly. That's the way you like to see youngsters get out of the way of an inside pitch. Use that left shoulder, use your back to protect yourself, turn away from the ball.
Comes back with a breaking ball, and it's low and outside. It's early, small sample size, but Aramis has crushed the opposing pitcher with runners on base. Well, all the talk about Soriano in the leadoff spot, that's where he's done a lot of damage. No early, nobody on. kick and a 2-1. He laid off 3-1. Fontenot would hit next. Hernandez just looked into the dugout, got the signs, and the throw will go first.
Quick word from Matt Sinatra right there to Derek Lee, probably warning him about the fake to third throw to first. Should Mike Owings try that move.
The 3-1 slider, and it's full.
That's a good take right there by Aramis Ramirez. Even though the pitch was in the strike zone, it wasn't what he was looking for. 3-1, 2-0 as a hitter. You zone in one pitch in one location. That's a slider at the knees on the outside corner. Not going to be able to do much with it anyway. Take it for a strike. Make him throw you one more pitch.
Lee runs on the 3-2.
Now in the 2 strike counts, you got to protect against that pitch. Just an awkward defensive swing to foul it off and stay alive. Nice emergency swing by Aramis Ramirez. That's the same slider he took for a strike. It's going to be too close to the zone. He just try to get a piece of it.
Another 3-2 and another foul. Well, Bob, Kerwin Danley got taken off the field again on a stretcher. He was working home plate in Toronto tonight. Rangers and the Blue Jays. They got hit in the head by a broken bat. We hope Kerwin's all right. Got hit in the head by a pitch from Brad Penny last year. The third 3-2 pitch. Another foul by Aramis.
That time he had to protect on a fastball inside. 30 pitches already here in the 5th for Micah Owings. Total of 93 in the ball game. Hey, as smart a hitter as Aramis Ramirez is, after seeing that fastball inside off the plate, it wouldn't surprise me if the Reds go back away again and Ramirez drives one through that right side.
And a right for Aramis. Great at bat. One is in. Lee stopping at third. And it's 4-2. And here comes Dusty. That'll be it for Owings. That's the first hit of the inning. So Mike Lincoln will come in. 4-2 Cubs are still batting in the 5th.
Okay, maybe it was my fault.
Our first night game here at Wrigley. We flash back to '86 with Everybody Have Fun Tonight. Well, we'll Wang Chung a little later. Technical difficulties. Bud Light Fan Cam, just the right taste that never fills you up. The difference is drinkability.
Were we supposed to sing that?
I don't know if it was karaoke or not, as Fontenot gets plunked by Mike Lincoln, who just came in.
Mike Lincoln carrying a lofty ERA into action tonight, 17.36. That came in 2 bad outings, one against the Mets, one against the Pirates, but an inauspicious start here to his outing tonight, plunking Mike Fontenot with his first pitch. If you're a relief pitcher in the early going and have a couple of bad outings, it takes you the rest of the summer to get that ERA whittled down to a respectable mark.
Bases loaded for Soto. He's fly to right twice. That's low. Ball 1. Cubs went 20-8 in home night games last year. This is their first of 29 night games this year. They were rained out Sunday night. Again, 2-0. Also tonight, the first of 20 games. It'll be broadcast in Spanish on WRTO, 1200 AM. Elio Benitez and Hector Fabregas will be calling the games in Spanish for the Cubs this season. Great to have them here. 2 in, a 2-0 count on Soto, make it 3-0. So Lincoln hit Fontenot with his first pitch and has not found the strike zone against Soto. And he's walked in a run, 5-2.
We hit
for Soto. That's his 5th walk here in the last few days.
That's a good sign, too. He's seeing the ball well, even though Lincoln is really struggling right now to find the zone. Plunked Fontenot. First batter he faced. He walks Soto to force in a run. For Ryan Theriot, I think you have to take till you get a strike here.
Well, there's nobody up. This is all Lincoln's inning. And Dick Pohl's coming out, and guessing there are 2 words on Dick's mind, and that is throw strikes.
I mentioned it earlier, the Reds are a little short in their bullpen tonight. Their closer has thrown back-to-back 30-pitch outings in 3 of the last 4 days. Arthur Rhodes has thrown back-to-back days. Nearly 50 pitches in those 2 outings. Looks like the phone is ringing. You see that bullpen catcher flip the hat around, it means it's somebody else's turn. Juan Lopez.
There's a strike. WGN News follows the game here on WGN. Micah Mater, Mark Sapelsa, Tom Skilling with the weather, Dan Roan with all the sports. I have all the Cubs highlights. Just on a breaker, 2-1. Micah's everywhere tonight. At the ballpark and on the news. Nick Massett up in their pen. Little dribbler to Encarnacion. He'll have to hurry, and he'll get Theriot. The Cubs get 2 on only 1 hit. Big error out and left. And they now lead innings, the Cubs sent 9 to the plate and scored 3 to grab their biggest lead tonight. Votto, Phillips, Bruce for Cincinnati. Rich Harden, 81 pitches through 5. So those runs were unearned because of the error by Dickerson. Nothing in 2. Not going to say it's warm. It certainly isn't the case. But if you come prepared, looks like a lot of Cub fans tonight have. Not too bad. Key is to always bring one more jacket than you think you're going to need. Votto strikes out.
Or sit next to somebody who does bring an extra jacket.
Yeah.
Layers are the order of the day. It always helps to stay warm when the good guys are winning.
Rich Harden with the short sleeves. Have to ask Rich this week. He just might not like having long sleeves. Doesn't matter how cold it is.
Well, we talked about it about Ted Lilly a week or so ago, starting under similar conditions, and the pitcher and the catcher are the two guys that stay the warmest throughout the ball game for obvious reasons. The pitcher's throwing the ball, the catcher's squatting back there. He has to throw the ball back to the pitcher every time he catches one. So you stay relatively warm even on a chilly, damp evening like this. It's the fielders, especially those outfielders, standing out there in the wet grass, wind blowing down the back of your jersey. You might not get a ball hit to you for 2 or 3 innings at a time. Bronzy's got his hands under his armpits trying to stay warm out there.
0-2 to Phillips. Drifts inside on a change. Well, we talked about it around opening day. Ted Lilly, you know, it's a lot easier for the Cubs pitcher to get into the clubhouse. It's 2 or 3 times as far for the visiting pitcher to go up to their clubhouse between innings. It's not very practical. By the time you get there, you have to come right back out. Phillips grounds out.
And that's one of the huge home field advantages that the Cubs have here at Wrigley Field, is the fact, as you mentioned, that their clubhouse is very accessible behind the dugout on the third base side. But the visitors on the first base side, it's a hike to get back to that clubhouse. I mean, if you leave right after a half inning is over, when your team comes up to the plate to hit, you might not even make it back to the clubhouse before 3 outs are made. So if you want to change shirts between innings or put on an extra shirt between innings, you better send the bat boy up to get it, because you're not going to have time to run up and change between innings.
They've scored 2 runs, and Jay Bruce has knocked them both in. A solo home run in the second, an RBI single in the fourth. That's been it. They have 3 hits in all. The other one was an infield hit by Taveras in the 5th. Popped him up out into shallow left. And Terrio has it. They go down in order, 1-2-3. Shutdown inning for Harden after his teammates gave him a 3-run lead. hits belong to Jay Bruce for the Reds. He has both their RBIs. Micah Hoffpower with a home run off Micah Owings. And the Cubs getting to this 5-run situation. They're pretty good when they score at least 4. Joey Gathright will hit for Harden. Joey's looking for his first hit as a Cub, and he just missed one. As Aaron Heilman loosens.
As we move forward in this season, Len, I think you'll see more and more of Joey Gathright. Spot start in the outfield here and there. Obviously a pinch runner. And when you use him as a pinch hitter, this is the ideal situation. Leading off the inning. Hope he can get on there and be disruptive with that speed on the bases.
The line on Harden, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. He walked 2, struck out 8, gave up 1 home run. Gathright played for Lou Piniella in Tampa Bay. Swing and a miss. And he strikes out. We are email accessible, reachable at WGN Cubs TV at AOL.com. Happy birthday wish goes out to Tina Newtoni watching in Bartlett tonight. Soriano walked and scored in the 3-run 5th. That hits the bag, goes over the head of Votto, and Soriano's going to try to get to second, and he will get there. As Votto and Bruce end up almost colliding. Joey Votto and halfway to the wall, out and right.
Almost looked like a base runner breaking up a double play as Votto went out into right field. I mean, medium depth right field to chase that ball from our Southwest Sky Cam. Cues it right off the end of the bat and hit the base right there. And as Votto slides after that ball, he kind of chopped the legs of Jay Bruce out from under him out there in right field, and Soriano ends up at second base with an easy double. Look out. Soriano was really jumpy last time he got on base back in the 5th inning after a walk and advanced to second base on a walk to Fukudome. He looked like he wanted to steal third base. First couple pitches to Derek Lee, he was bouncing around out there off second base. We showed you a shot of Chris Spire in that first base dugout yelling at Brandon Phillips to get closer to the bag to hold Soriano close.
Lincoln's pitch hits Kosuke and didn't have a good sound. Now he has protection on the right shin, but it's on the inside part of the leg. That's to protect the leg against a foul ball, not a hit by pitch.
It sounded like ball on bone right there. On the outside of the right calf, just above the ankle. It would surprise me a bit to see Lou lead Joey Gathright in this ball game for Kosuke Fukudome. That's in an area, especially on a night like this, that's likely to really tighten up. See Kosuke trying to stretch it out over there at first base as he takes his lead.
Swing and a miss by Derek, who just missed a 3-run homer on a towering fly ball to left. It was dropped by Chris Dickerson. It's a key play in this one. allowed the Cubs to eventually take the lead again on a sac fly by Micah Hoffpower. They would add 2 more insurance runs. Slow start for Derek, but he's had a good homestand. He came in at 381 with 5 knocked in. Two balls, 2 strikes. 2 on with 1 out. Lincoln has a sign. He's now set. The kick and the pitch. Hit foul. 38,403. The paid crowd. Not every seat full on this cold night. But they're pretty much full out in the bleachers. They got here early. As always. Way outside.
Huge understatement, but Lincoln really struggling with his command out there. Really hasn't thrown back-to-back strikes with any of his pitches. He'll hit his spot with 1 fastball, then throw 1 behind a hitter. He'll throw 1 curveball for a strike high in the zone and then bounce the next one. It's the same conditions for both teams, but the pitchers more than anybody else talk about the cold weather and how the ball seems slippery in their hands. Not able to get a good grip on the baseball.
Eric asks for time. See if the runners go 1 out. 3-2 count on Lee. They're not running and they're loaded. Lincoln continues to struggle with his command. He's hit 2. He walked in a run in the 5th. Left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera up in their bullpen.
Now this is a stall for time move. You may have noticed Dusty Baker giving the sign to Ramon Hernandez to go out there and talk to him, stall for a little bit of time, and now Dusty's going to make his way out of that first base dugout.
So bases loaded, and Dusty will play the matchups. Daniel Ray Herrera will come in, and Cubs lead 5-2. They have a chance to add on here in the 6th. We'll be back.
executing his pitches extremely well. Gave up only 3 base hits to this Reds offense. That's today's AM/PM player of the game. Too much good stuff, Rich Hart.
Left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera, acquired from Texas prior to 2008. Bobby throws a screwball, so we might see that here against Reed Johnson, who's going to pinch hit for Michael Hoffpower.
Well, just an average fastball, an average breaking ball, but a pitch that you just don't see very many big leaguers throw anymore. He uses it as a changeup. Its movement will be down and away from the right-handed hitters.
It was Fernando Valenzuela's out pitch. More recently, Jim Messier threw the screwball. A lot of screwballs in the game, but not pitches. Swing and the miss.
Well, if you can picture turning a doorknob counterclockwise for a right-hander, for a left-hander, you're turning it clockwise. That's kind of the arm action on a screwball. Instead of the hand being behind the baseball or on the outside of the baseball, it actually turns to the inside of the ball at release point. It causes it to fade down and away from a right-handed hitter. There it is right there.
And Reed could not hold up. 1-2.
Yeah, for a left-handed pitcher, you would be turning the doorknob clockwise. That's the action that the wrist and the arm takes at release.
Kick and a pitch, and a big swing and a miss. So Herrera strikes out Johnson.
Came on another screwball, this one right in the middle of the plate. With that arm action and that downward movement on that pitch makes it very tough to make contact. From our Southwest Sky Cam, pitch started up high in the zone, ended up down at the bottom.
Ramirez at the plate. 2 hits, including an RBI single. And because of that pitch, I'm sure Dusty feels somewhat comfortable. And he knew that Lou probably was going to hit for Hoffpower, but having this quirky lefty against these righties.
The lefties were 1 for 7 against Herrera coming into play tonight. Right-handers 1 for 4.
At the end of the bat, over the Reds dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Herrera listed at 5'6", 165 pounds.
So Daniel Ray Herrera pitched in college. He went to the University of New Mexico. And you may have noticed his fastball sits in the low to mid-80s. He's not overpowering at all.
And Ramirez waited back beautifully. He's going to knock in at least 1. Here comes the throw toward the plate. Give him 2 more RBIs. 3 on the night, 14 on the year. The Cubs keep stretching their lead. It's now 7-2.
Ramirez, such a smart hitter. I mean, just watching from the on-deck circle, he probably realized that Herrera can't throw a fastball by me, so I'm going to sit on that off-speed pitch and line it the other way, and that's exactly what he does. Very similar to his last at-bat. They came inside with 1 pitch. He looked out away on the next one, lined it into right field for an RBI. Just a smart hitter.
Those runs would be charged to Lincoln as Fontenot swings and misses. Those guys at the top of the order who struggled early on in getting on base, they have been able to do that over the last couple of innings. Soriano and Fukudome have scored 4 runs. Derek Lee, the 5th over these last 2 frames. One time it was 2-2. It's now 7-2. Lofted to left. Dickerson now backing up, and he has it, and that's the inning. 2 more runs. Ramirez with a 2-out RBI single. Cubs 7, Reds 2 as we head to the 7th.
CIN America original.
Cubs have stretched their lead to 7-2. Johnson remains in and plays center. Kosuke also staying in. Remember, got hit by a pitch, but he's well enough to stay in. He goes to right. Aaron Heilman will take over on the mound. Facing Edwin Encarnacion. And that's a called strike. Bullpen's been better as of late. You think about Saturday. Especially Kevin Gregg, Carlos Marmol. Angel Guzman got his first major league victory. I saw the same headline in the St. Louis and Chicago papers about 2 different bullpens and how the rain out Sunday was key. Boy, how about the Nationals? Manny Acta wanted to send his entire bullpen down to the minors. They blew another lead late. It's been a weird epidemic. Seen Mike Lincoln struggle tonight.
It's a problem all around baseball. You consider yourself fortunate as a team if you break camp in spring training and not only have your starting rotation in order, but have your bullpen lined up, have guys have enough innings and enough arm strength to carry the workload early in the season.
Terrio gobbles it up, high throw, but that's all right. Derek is 6'5", and Encarnacion is 0 for 3. Well, I thought the key outing for the Cubs was Kevin Gregg. Came on in the 8th on Saturday in a tie game, 1st and 2nd, no outs. Back-to-back strikeouts. Got a fielder's choice ground out. Then he went 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. So hopefully that's the key outing for Kevin. It really gets him going. One and nothing on Hernandez. He is grounded out twice to second. Off the plate inside. And the Class 4A state champs, basketball team from Whitney Young High School, to conduct our 7th inning stretch tonight. What's up, guys? Four-time conference champions. They beat Waukegan 69-66 March 21st to win the Class 4A Illinois State Championship. Tyrone Slaughter's their head coach. Marcus Jordan, Stan Brown, Chris Colvin, Franklin Griffin, Ricardo Munoz handling the stretch tonight. That's a gapper for Hernandez. He's going to make the turn and head for second base. It's his first double of the year. Marcus Jordan, the son of Hall of Famer Michael Jordan, is going to Central Florida. Stan Brown to Lamar University. Chris Colvin will head off to Iowa State. Franklin Griffin to Seton Hall. And Ricardo Munoz to Louisville. Just missed to Gonzalez. 1 ball, no strikes.
May have noticed that shot of Lou Piniella looking over to the first base dugout to see who the pinch hitter would be for the pitcher spot due up after Alex Gonzalez. Looks like Lance Nix has made his way out into the on-deck circle.
Gio's back, but it's about 3 rows up.
Nix has been the most used pinch hitter in the early going for the Reds. 2 for 6 off of Dusty's bench.
Heilman's 1-1. Lined right at Ramirez for the second out. And it will be Nix.
Heilman has the atom ball working. Everything they hit's right at him. That time right at Aramis Ramirez at third base.
Runner at second, 2 outs, 7-2 Cubs.
That's a veteran pitch right there by Aaron Heilman. You get a pinch hitter coming off the bench. He's going to be aggressive, swinging at the first pitch he sees in the strike zone, and Aaron throws him a backdoor off-speed breaking ball.
Neil Kotz loosening. Well, he wants to get right back out there. He threw 8 pitches Saturday, and he missed the zone all 8 times. The 0-2 moved his hands. 1-2. Nix with his 3rd major league team. He's been a Ranger, a Brewer, and now a Red.
Chris Dickerson would hit after Willie Taveras should we roll back around to the top of the order, and that's why Neil Kotz is cranking it up down in that Cubs bullpen. Dickerson, a left-handed hitter. Joey Votto follows him as a left-handed hitter. That would be the spot that you would figure to see Neil Kotz if we get that far.
And again, Sean Marshall is available if needed tonight in the pen. Swing and a miss. Time for the stretch.
Conductors for taking out the ballgame of the Class 4A state basketball champions from Whitney Young High School.
All right, fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back home. Root for the Cubbies. When it's a shame. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of your own ball game.
Cubs by becoming a member of the Cubs Club, the official online fan club for die-hard Cubs fans. Cubs Club members get several exclusive benefits, such as a subscription to 2009 MLB.com game day audio, special merchandise, and much more. To join up, visit Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. Cubs 7, Reds 2. Cubs pulling away the last couple of innings. Jared Burton is on, and Giovanni Soto with a roller into right. Finally paid off. He did take the bases loaded walk in the 5th. And he's getting there.
You may have noticed Giovanni looked back to his own dugout and kind of held up his hand as if he had a baseball in it. That's what guys usually do when they want the ball thrown out of the game. I'm sure he's taken a lot of good-natured ribbing from his teammates. When are you going to get it going offensively? And Gio was joking right back at him. I want that ball.
They've talked about this a lot in April. You can hide a 2 for 19, or in his case 2 for 21 in June or July or August, but when you do it to start the season, it really stands out. Little blooper past Phillips, and Terrio's aboard. His second hit tonight. He's piling up those multi-hit games. Let's see, for Ryan, that's his 7th multi-hit game of the year.
The Cubs only have 2 sacrifice bunts on the season, one by Ted Lilly, one by Ryan Theriot. With the lead in this ball game, I would assume Miles up there to swing away. takes a first pitch fastball for a called strike, but no sign of a bunt.
2 RBIs for Aaron, both coming on Saturday against his former team, the Cardinals. So he got the start at second. Nice job by the Whitney Young High School boys basketball team, the state champs.
Well, congratulations to all those young men, the 5 gentlemen that were in the booth singing with us, all going on to 4-year schools. Wish them the best of luck.
First 2 have reached. And it's 2-2 on the pinch hitter Miles. Excellent, and Bob, they said yes. Well, they put all their eggs in one basket. They were counting on us showing them on television tonight to find a way to get dates for their prom, but it worked. Thing you know, they're going to call us to be chaperones, but I think we're busy tonight. We've got a ball game.
Pay for a boutonniere. Wow, that's one of those things that as you grow older, at least for me personally, a little overrated.
How many times have you been out to dinner on a Saturday night? All of a sudden 30 high school age kids walk in. All the boys are in tuxes. Girls are in their prom dresses.
Well, we see that seemingly every trip we go to Cincinnati. It's prom time. Yeah. Nothing like having a whole floor full of high school kids. On a weekend when you're trying to get some sleep before a day game. Come on.
Another 2-2 and another foul.
I don't know about you, Len, but when we check into hotels on the road, that's one of the first things I look at is what groups are staying at the hotel.
I can't say I've done that much,
brother.
but
sometimes it will tell you how much sleep you're going to get those 3 days. Some of those high school reunions, staying at the hotel. National Tattoo Convention. Ran into that one time in Texas. You know, we had our friends in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago.
Right. See all of our favorite mascots that weekend. Full count. Two pitch, he struck him out on a foul tip. Soriano for his 5th plate appearance. We started just a few minutes late, 12 minutes to be exact, because of some drizzle in the late afternoon. We've been dry, very windy, very cold, and the Cubs taking advantage. They lead 7-2.
I think that has to be a little unnerving to a pitcher when the catcher comes out to the mound to make a visit, and Alfonso Soriano has already taken his toe hold in the batter's box and is just waiting for you to throw that first pitch. He doesn't waste a lot of time between pitches either. He keeps that back foot planted in there. He is ready to roll.
Alfonso leans in and fouls it back to the screen. Carlos Zambrano will start Thursday against Aaron Harang. Kind of feel bad. We talked so much about Micah Owings and his prowess at the plate. Had to have a Z sighting tonight too. He says, "Hey, Len and Bob, I've won 2 Silver Sluggers. Micah's only won 1. Broke his bat. I think that was about as clean a break as we'll see. Wow.
And it's split lengthwise down the barrel of the bat.
And giveaway tonight featuring Carlos Zambrano. Exclusive limited edition no-hitter statue to the first 10,000 fans. It was the pose in Milwaukee last September. Ground ball, foul. Just wide of third. Nice play by Edgar Tovar. Cubs bullpen catchers.
The scary thing for hitters around the National League, Len, is they think that at some point in the very near future they're going to see Carlos Zambrano assume that pose again out there on the mound. I mean, more than any other pitcher I think in the game, Zambrano is the one, if you talk to opposing hitters, they're going to say he's going to throw another. He has that kind of stuff, and on a given day when everything's working, tough duty for hitters.
Well, he's not facing the Cardinals this week, and maybe that's not a bad thing. For whatever reason, the last 3 times out versus St. Louis, he has really struggled. Fortunately, his team is able to pull it out. Last time he pitched against them, swing and a miss. So Soriano's out. It's up to Fukudome.
Hernandez wants the pitch up. Burton gets it up. Soriano swings through. Fukudome, should he put the ball in play here, to see if he shows any residual effects from getting plunked on the outside of that right calf with a pitch in his last at bat.
A couple more times on base tonight for Kosuke. Looks like it'll be Neil Kotz in the 8th. Three and nothing. Marlins lost again. Second straight defeat, 3-2. Jeff Karstens of the Pirates beat Anibal Sanchez. The Pirates are 8-6. Bases loaded. Kosuke on for the 3rd time.
No sign of a limp as he headed down to first base there. I'm sure it doesn't feel very good right now, but Mark O'Neill and Ed Halber and the Cubs fine training staff, I'm sure, are going to get him in that training room immediately after the ball game and go to work.
Adam Dunn with his 4th homer of the year, and the Nationals lead at home against the Braves in the top of the 9th, 4-3. We'll see if the Nats bullpen can hold them. Phillies crushing the Brewers at Citizens Bank Park, 11-4. Ryan Braun with 2 home runs. Pedro Feliz with his first for the Phillies as they try to get to 500. They're 5-6. Milwaukee 4-8. Both teams off to disappointing starts. 2-0 now with the bases loaded on Derek Lee. Did you see the Washington Nationals? They forgot the O on some of those uniforms. Nationals. Was it Aaron Harang who once was Cincinnati misspelled or something?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It happens occasionally.
You know, we were joking about it before the ball game. You'd be amazed how many players don't really pay any attention to the uniform hanging in their locker, just so there is one hanging in there. Used to be a gag. Guys would play, hang their jersey in one of the coaches' lockers and see if he would put it on and go out to the field with the wrong jersey on, and it happens all the time. Those guys probably can't spell Nationals.
Manny's gone deep for the Dodgers, but they trail at Houston 7-5 in the 7th. It's full. Mets and the Cardinals 4-4 in the 8th. Mets led that one at 1 point 4-0. Cardinals tied it with 4 in the 5th. They stand here at Wrigley. Cubs already lead by 5. They had him loaded with 2 outs, a 3-2 to lead with the runners going. Out of play.
They give Dealey a lot of room in left center field. Willie Taveras in center is shaded over toward the right field side gap. Room in that gap in left center. If Dealey could shoot a line drive over Alex Gonzalez head at shortstop, it would roll all day. Good swings on Burton, just missing those pitches. Fouled him straight back.
A reminder that WGN News follows the game. Soto, Terrio, Fukudome, 3rd to 1st, respectively. They go again on the next 3-2. Tapper foul. Diamondbacks 4, Rockies 3 in the top of the 4th in Arizona. Weren't the Rockies in Arizona like 2 weeks ago? Padres 1, Giants nothing in the 3rd. In San Francisco. Another 3-2. Deep drive for Lee. Not going to go. Boy, it sounded good, looked good, but the wind knocking it down. And Dickerson makes a catch. Inning over, but the Cubs lead by 5. 7-2. but I know this is an important outing for Neal. And then the last time around, he did not throw a strike facing 2 batters. He's walked 4 in under 3 innings. Top of the order now for the Reds, starting with Willie Taveras. 1 out of 3. Ball 1.
Really no surprise what Neal Kotz needs to do to get himself out of that bullpen doghouse, and that's throw the ball over the plate. Hit batsmen and base on balls have been his downfall in the early going this season.
I know his manager would like to see a strike. There it is, 2-1.
Well, when the second pitch from Neal Kotz missed the strike zone, you could clearly see Lou telling Larry to get on the phone to the bullpen. There's some stirring around down there.
Carlos Marmol take off the batting gloves. 3-2. Garrick will go after it, but no play. Hit the corner of the ledge and bounded about 10 rows up. Just looking at that jersey, I mean, you got 3 N's, 3 I's, 2 C's. I mean, it'd be easy to mess that one up.
Lived in Cincinnati for a couple of years and spelled it even though I lived there. Cincy, C-I-N-C-I, Cincy. Or as we like to call it, the Natty.
Another 3-2. Got him. Well, Neal Kotz needed that.
Well, and I think sometimes, especially in the early part of this season, if you struggle with your command or just miss your spots and walk a couple guys, I think the problem really becomes more mental than physical. There's no question Neal Kotz has a good arm. When he does throw strikes, he rarely gets hit hard. But you start aiming the ball, you start thinking about throwing strikes, hoping that you throw a strike, instead of just trusting your physical ability and letting the ball go.
Solid single for Dickerson. That's his first hit tonight.
We hear hitters talk about trusting their hands all the time. Pitchers have to do the same thing on the mound. You have to trust your stuff. Trust that your mechanics are good. Find that good release point. Throw the ball in the strike zone with some movement and let your defense work behind you.
I'll tell you, his manager and his pitching coach, they can live with the last result, the single up the middle. A lot better than a walk. Made sure you'd like Neal to go 1, 2, 3. But the key here again is to make them earn their way on, particularly with the Cubs leading right now by 5. Slider off the plate. 2-0 to Votto.
These are the guys that Neal Kotz needs to attack, the left-handed hitters. It's understandable if he struggles against some tough right-handed hitters.
gazing down at the bullpen, and the hat has been lifted, meaning Marmol's ready. So that'll be it for Cox. And the call has been made. So 2 on with 1 out here in the 8th. It's 7-2 Cubs. Here comes Marmol. Of Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN Sports is Mark Brady. Skip Ellison is our director. Our associate producer, Doug Stanton. The executive producer of WGN Sports, Bob Borwald. Thanks as well to Greg Gressel, our engineer in charge, our audio technician, Frank Leone, stage manager, Paula Scroba in the booth, our studio coordinator back at WGN, pretty good with the guitar too, Eric Johnson, and of course our entire WGN crew here at Wrigley Field. Eric played on our WGN Sports Cubs promo.
Thank goodness.
Ball 1, fastball to Brandon Phillips from Carlos Marmol, who worked out of a big jam in the 7th on Saturday. Came back in the 8th, did give up back-to-back doubles to tie it up, but then Kevin Gregg helped him out. Slider missed 2-0. Way up in the air for Reed Johnson.
And I have to believe that Lou did not want to have to use Carlos Marmol in a 5-run ball game, but you always want to win that first game of the series. You don't want any momentum to slip away. Wilcox struggled giving up the base hit to Dickerson, then the walk to Votto, and Lou just decided that's it. Let's slam the door right here. Let's Carlos Marmol, see if he can get us out of this jam and keep the score right where it is.
Jay Bruce with a healthy hack. 1 strike. It's past everybody. And it's a wild pitch. Great to hear Bob Rosenberg, official scorer here at Wrigley Field. Wild pitch.
That's one of his favorites. That one when he's giving the pitcher's line. For example, 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs. They were earned. Like he's rubbing it in.
Swing and a miss. All in 2 strikes. Cleveland held on to beat Kansas City 8-7. Royals trying to get out of their early. The Indians trying to get out of their early season front. They're 5-9 after the win. Swing and a miss. Soto will apply the tag, and the inning is over. So Marmol faces 2, gets both with 2 men on. Nasty stuff from the right-hander. Still 7-2.
That he had on down in Mesa just a month or so ago.
Ball 1 to Reed Johnson as we play the last of the 8th. As the Cubs look for their 3rd straight win and try to improve to 8-4. Yankees won tonight. They beat Oakland 5-3. Texas over the Blue Jays 5-4. Blue Jays, even with a loss, are 10-5 to start the season. Twins and Red Sox were rained out. Detroit leading it. The Angels 3-1 in the 3rd. Tampa Bay 2, Seattle 1 in the 4th. That's a long trip for the Rays. From Florida to Seattle. You know, Bob, I think Montreal, one of those years when they were hosting some games in Puerto Rico, I think they went from Puerto Rico to Seattle or vice versa. That's as far as you could go. That's crazy. That's got to be about a 7-8 hour trip.
It's been said for years that that's one of the reasons why people think Seattle will never do well in the postseason. The grind of the travel that they go through during the regular season. I mean, their closest trip is down to Oakland, and I think that's a 2.5 or a 3 hour flight from Seattle.
Well, Lou Piniella has managed both the Rays and the Mariners. They won 116 one year, but didn't get to the World Series. You hear stories about that Mariners team being about 50 games over 500. Lou poring over lineups, trying to come up with the right combination. I think it really mattered at that point.
Well, he was doing that this afternoon before this ball game, sitting down with his bench coach, Alan Trammell. Ron Santo and I happened to be in the office at the same time, and they had 3 different lineups made out for tonight's ball game and discussing the merits and weaknesses of each one of the lineups.
That's what you love about Lou. He does take a lot of input from his coaching staff. Kick and the pitch. Emergency swing, and Reed stays alive. Baltimore leading the White Sox. One of their score, Bob. 8-3 in the 8th. He showed up today.
I was just going to say there's a real art to making out a lineup. I mean, there are times when guys will have impressive numbers against that day's opposing pitcher, and it's a no-brainer they're going to be in the lineup somewhere. But if the numbers don't scream out for an exact lineup, you have to do a little managing. Brandon Phelps will make the play on Reed Johnson, no problem. I mean, where do you put your lefties in the lineup? Okay, if I put the lefty there and they go to the bullpen, and the Reds do have 2 lefties in their bullpen. We saw Danny Herrera earlier in the ballgame. They also have Arthur Rhodes. Well, if I put my 2 lefties together, that makes it too easy for Dusty to bring in a left-handed pitcher to face them both. So I want to split my lefties, but how do I want to go about doing that? Where do we want to put Hoffpower in the lineup tonight? We know Fukudome is going to hit 2. It was an interesting process, and sometimes, depending on your opposition and the strengths or weaknesses of the team you're playing against, you might want to put the 2 lefties back-to-back in the lineup to try to entice the other manager to bring in that left-handed pitcher, knowing full well that you're going to pinch hit for the first left-handed hitter. Now, that wasn't the case in Lou's lineup tonight, but there are times in the past when that's been part of the strategy. I'm going to bunch my lefties, force him to go to his bullpen for that left-handed specialist, and then I'm going to drop some right-handed pinch hitters on him.
Well, the big topic the last 2 years in terms of the Cubs lineup had been Soriano leading off, but that's been quieted. Soriano with 5 home runs, which really doesn't have anything to do with how good he is as a leadoff hitter per se. I mean, you talk about on base percentage and stolen bases and all those things. He would like to run more. He's 2 for 3. But right off the bat, the opposing pitcher has to feel a little pressure, knowing if I throw one right down the middle, he could be down 1-0 just like that.
Well, not only that, but how many starting pitchers, when they take the mound to throw the first pitch of the game, are at their best? Usually it takes a batter or 2, sometimes an inning or 2, for that pitcher to settle in on the mound, find his release point, get the mound groomed exactly the way he likes it. And in the meantime, if you make a mistake on Soriano, all of a sudden as a pitcher, you're behind in the ball game already after facing one hitter, and you're still not comfortable on the mound.
Swing and the miss. Strike 3. 2 gone. Well, when you think about how the Cubs have started here offensively, they've had their moments where they've scored a ton of runs. They've had moments. I mean, tonight they've left the bases loaded 3 times, but they've scored 7. So you're okay with that. They're 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position. But with the injury to Milton Bradley, and at some point he's facing a 2-game suspension unless he gets maybe 1 knocked off with an appeal. 1 hopper backhanded by Phillips, the jump throw, and they get the out. But Fukudome and Hoffpower have really picked up the slack, and that has helped Lou a lot with his lineups, even without the switch hitting Milton Bradley. We go to the 9th, 7-2 Cubs. Right-hander Luis Vizcaíno make his 4th appearance. He tries to close out the Reds.
Limited time on the mound in the early going for Vizcaíno, but he's been very good when he has been called upon. Held the league to a 111 batting average in his 3 appearances coming into play tonight.
He faces Edwin Encarnacion. Vizcaíno came over from the Rockies in exchange for Jason Marquis over the winter. Right-hander Johnny Cueto and lefty Ted Lilly tomorrow night. Man. No blanket?
Yeah, baby singing. Throw strikes. Got a big lead. Let's go. Throw it over the plate.
2-1. WGN News coming up next. Cueto and Lilly tomorrow. Harang, Zambrano Thursday, and then off to St. Louis. Terrio moving to his right. Tonight's Budweiser plays of the game. Michael Hoffpower filling in again for Milton Bradley in right. Long home run. That tied it up. And then a long sacrifice fly. It becomes a lead. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. It looks to be the game winner at this point. I saw a note that Michael Hoffpower said that he didn't even look for an apartment here in Chicago until he was guaranteed a roster spot. Everybody in spring training was telling him, oh, you're in, you're in. His manager, he pretty much announced it in the middle of spring training, Hoffpower's on the roster. But Micah took nothing for granted. That's a good way to look at this game.
Well, Micah does a lot of things well. He was quoted in the local papers this morning about how much he learned from Darryl Ward. Darryl Ward no longer playing in the major leagues, but had a huge impact on Micah Hoffpower and some of those other bench players for the Cubs, how to approach their business when they're not an everyday player. And paid big dividends for Micah tonight.
Hernandez grounds out. And it's Alex Gonzalez with 2 outs. Everybody thinking, hot chocolate time. Go Cubs, go time. Vizcaíno's pitch. Foul strike. The Cardinals did win their game over the Mets 6-4, so St. Louis is 9-5. They got 2 in the bottom of the 8th to win it. Jason Mott got the win. Ryan Franklin save. Down to the final strike, 0-2. Cardinals acquired right-hander Blaine Boyer from Atlanta, trying to bolster their bullpen. side. Now the 1-2. And we'll do it again. If Gonzalez gets on, former Cub Jerry Hairston Jr. would bat. And as a pinch hitter, he's on deck. Vizcaíno trying to get Gonzalez and wrap it up. Just missed.
Like a slider that backed up on Vizcaíno, trying to throw it on the outside part of the plate, break it out of the zone. It just stayed right there close to the outside corner. Kind of an awkward catch by Giovanni Soto. He was expecting that pitch to move a little bit.
Deep drive for Gonzalez. He just missed the home run right beneath the basket for a double. Just didn't hit it high enough, but he hit it hard enough. That's his second double of the year, and they're still alive as Hairston comes up.
This pitcher is number 15, Jerry Hairston Jr.
Nothing personal, Jerry. I think every former Cub on this homestand has been booed.
Yeah, no matter what the circumstances surrounding your exodus from Chicago, if you used to wear the blue and now you wear something else, you're going to get booed.
Strike one.
Hairston's first pinch hit appearance of the season.
They had a really good year last year, 326. And there's a very typical Jerry Hairston foul ball.
We've seen that one.
He gets way out in front and just smokes it way foul.
He hits about 400 foul down that third baseline every year.
The 0-2, got it. Cubs win 7-2 the final. As Rich Harden suffered his first Wrigley Field loss his last time out. 6 strong innings tonight to get the win.